March 9, 1974, Lubang Island, Philippines. A thin man steps out of the jungle. His uniform is faded, his rifle still operational, his sword still hanging at his side. World War II ended in 1945, but for Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda, the war has never ended. For 29 years he hid in the jungle, ignoring surrender leaflets, search parties, and the modern world, because he had orders, and he was going to follow them. In late December 1944, Japan's empire was collapsing across the Pacific. American forces were advancing toward the Philippines. At a military airfield, 22-year-old Lieutenant Hiroo Onoda received his final instructions from Major Yoshimi Taniguchi. He was to deploy to Lubang Island. His mission: destroy the airstrip, conduct guerrilla warfare, prevent enemy landings, never surrender, never take his own life. You may have to suffer for 3 years or 5, his commander told him. But whatever happens, we will come back for you. In February 1945, American and Filipino forces invaded Lubang. Japanese resistance collapsed within days, but Onoda disappeared into the jungle. The war had just begun for him. The war ends. Except it doesn't. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender. Across Asia, Japanese soldiers laid down their weapons. On Lubang Island, leaflets fell from the sky. The war has ended. Onoda studied them carefully. He concluded they were enemy propaganda. His training had prepared him for deception, psychological warfare, false surrender messages, manipulation. He would not be tricked. He and 3 remaining soldiers began stealing rice from local farmers. They burned crops to disrupt enemy supply lines. To them, the war was entering its guerrilla phase. Peace was the illusion. The war did not fade. It hardened. Months turned into years. The jungle became routine: patrol, observe, strike, disappear. In 1950, one of Onoda's men, Yuichi Akatsu, quietly slipped away and surrendered. The remaining 3 tightened discipline. They moved camp constantly. They slept in shifts.
Is anyone there? Come out with your hands up!
They cleaned their rifles obsessively. Search parties called out through megaphones. Families sent letters begging them to come home. Onoda analyzed every word. Too polished, too convenient, too staged. In 1954, Corporal Shoichi Shimada was shot during a clash with local police on the beach. He died still believing the war continued. Now only 2 remained. The world was rebuilding. But on Lubang Island, 1945 never ended. After Shimada's death, only Onoda and Kinshichi Kozuka remained. Seasons blurred together. They stitched uniforms from scraps. They rationed stolen rice. They hunted cattle at night. News leaflets reported the Tokyo Olympics of 1964. Impossible, Onoda thought. Tokyo was supposed to be in ruins. They dismissed photographs of skyscrapers and bullet trains. In 1972, Kozuka was shot while burning rice stores during another raid. Onoda escaped into the hills. For the first time in 27 years, he was alone. No voices, no shared watches, no confirmation, just silence. But still no surrender. In 1974, a young adventurer named Norio Suzuki made an unusual promise. He told friends he would find a panda, the abominable snowman, and Lieutenant Onoda. Armed with little more than curiosity and optimism, Suzuki entered the jungle. Against all expectations, he found him. The 2 spoke for hours. Suzuki explained. Japan had surrendered. The world had changed. Families had grown old waiting. Onoda listened calmly. Then he gave his answer. I will only surrender if my commanding officer orders me to. Nearly 30 years later, he was still following orders. Japan located Major Yoshimi Taniguchi, now a bookseller. He flew to the Philippines. On March 9, 1974, he stood before his former lieutenant. He read the official order. The Imperial Army has ceased all combat activity. Onoda removed his sword. He presented his rifle. It was still functional. Nearly 3 decades of war ended in a single sentence. Onoda returned to Japan a relic of another era. Some called him loyal. Some called him tragic. He had survived 29 years in isolation. But the world he came back to was unrecognizable. Neon lights, bullet trains, economic power. For him, the war ended in 1974. For the world, it had ended long ago.